Welcome to xtsurge, a program of the Spark of Humanity Network. My name is Martha Holden. I'm a member of the Spark of Humanity Network. With me today is Lawrence Webster, a friend and somebody who's been on this show before. We'll get to that in a moment. xtsurge, well, the Spark of Humanity Network is based on the understanding that there is a spark of humanity in each one of us, in you, Lawrence, each one of us, and that as we get in touch with our spark of humanity and through it reach out to connect with and affirm the spark in someone else, that strengthens their spark. And it seems that the strengthened spark acts to erode the defenses, release the distortions, and clarify the bafflement, not necessarily in that order. xtsurge is developed from the sense that we have, the intuition, the experience, the sort of the feeling that currently we are in the process of an evolution of consciousness worldwide, and that we are choosing to call it a xtsurge based on our understanding that we're every creature, every one of us, existing within a living process, and that this process is living through us, as well as us living within it. It's living through us, pressing to live through us, lives within us. And we are calling this process Christ, which we talked about the last time Lawrence was able to come to the show. But last time, after our conversation, Lawrence said, Martha, I don't understand about this spark process, this spark practice. How do we do that, and how does that connect in with this xtsurge business? Although she put it much more fluently and gallantly, so I'll let her rephrase the question at this point.
Let's see. I'm not sure I can promise fluid or gallant off the cuff here, but the question I have is, as you talk about the universal spark of humanity in every one of us, I get all kind of happy and think, oh, I like that. My spark could meet your spark, and then our sparks will grow and maybe set a little fire over there and those sparks and stuff, right? Something along those lines.
Maybe, yeah.
It's a way to bring the world, you talk about an evolving process, so it's certainly a very lively, dynamic kind of process you're describing. The puzzlement I have is why you call it, it's maybe just semantic, I don't know, but why a spark of humanity? Because we are humans, and yes, there's a piece of humanity inside all of us. And why not a spark of the divine, for example? And what's the connection to Christ? Or any kind of, you've explained that Christ is not necessarily just Jesus as we generally think of Jesus, but is a whole other kind of concept. But I guess I would like to know, as I walk through the world, how could I, first of all, identify my own little spark, because I know it's in there someplace, or I take that on faith. And then what can I do to encourage my little spark to greet your little spark instead of looking at you like you're going to hurt me, or harumph, or something? I don't mean you personally,
right?
Others. In other words, how to use the spark to develop a richer, more robust feeling of community among us, which I think is what we need right now. Is that an okay way to ask that question?
3 questions.
Too many questions?
That's okay, but you can help tease them apart if I forget one. To start off with the spark of humanity, because that's what I was given.
Okay.
In the late 1970s, I was flailing around because I was needing to make a slight shift in my career from being a prosecuting attorney to being a defense attorney, and I didn't know how I could do that because, of course, I was enculturated into this, those people are all, et cetera. I won't use that language. and I was, and I needed a job. And so I just, sometimes these intuitions come up, these insights happen. And it's interesting when we pay attention to them. And when we obey them, and when we give them space and let them breathe. Anyway, that was it. It was Spark of Humanity. And I think in that context where the attitude is to dehumanize each other between the law enforcement and the criminal element, and the other side too, because if you're in prison, often you can see that the correction officers are not really acting like human, so it's regardless of where we are in that whole mess, that whole sadness, whole tragedy, to recognize that there's something that you have in common. So that's, okay, so hence, and I mean, that's what I was given, so that's what I took, but that's the rationalization I've come afterwards. At that time, that was the appropriate. If you'd said divinity, I would have said, I'm out of here. God, I don't want to talk about that.
Well, and given the context,
Yeah.
remember that those people, whichever they are, whether you're talking about the corrections officers, the prisoners, the judge and jury, all those people all have the same spark that I have.
Right, the FBI agents.
Oh, yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
So that there's that how to get in. There's an exercise we have. Teleconference meditations in conjunction with the phase of the moon. Sunday's closest to the new moon, Sunday closest to the full moon. For about an hour or so on Sunday afternoons, the times, dates are in the telephone numbers are in the Spark of Humanity website. And we go through the whole process of getting in touch with where our Spark of Humanity is, getting in touch with it. So, and like so many things, it's a matter of practice. Yeah.
Oh, that.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends, a lot of people, when we talk about the Spark of Humanity, say, oh, what a wonderful idea. How sweet that is. Oh, I want to do that too, but, practice? Are you nuts?
Yeah.
Yeah, like going to a physical therapist.
Yes.
You want them just to heal you. You don't want to have to actually do the exercises.
Right.
Anyway,
Totally get
so, can't we all? So there's, I've learned afterwards that to activate our vagus nerve is a good thing. Do you know about activating your vagus nerve?
Vaguely, because it's out there.
It is out there. I've been learned two different ways. One is inhale starting at your root and up through your belly and up through your chest, and then exhale. And inhale, root, belly, chest, exhale, top down, inhale, so before we go into the second one, within that, recognizing that we are each unique energy events within the ever-evolving omnidimensional dance of all being. So understanding that we're just unique energy events within this vast dance. And then within the energy event with which you identify, locate your spark of humanity, or spark of whatever. We can also call it, if you prefer, core of Christ or kernel of Christ. The point is there's something essential, incorruptible, ineradicable, enduring. It cannot be polluted. It cannot be extinguished within you, within me. And they're all made of the same stuff. So when you, through your spark of humanity, not through your mind, not through your mind, through your spark of humanity, reach out to connect with and affirm the spark in someone else. It can be helpful to start with someone who's really easy, like Coleman in the control room, or me, or any, so, and get a feeling for how that is, that sense of connection. And how that feels for you, and how that connection feels. And then if you want, if you choose, to go to more difficult, more challenging people whose sparks are not as easily accessible to you. And on the Sunday meditations, we go up to till it gets really, really, really difficult. Then, okay, if you're feeling depleted, as I generally am at that point, I go back to recognizing there are 3 reassurances in the spark work. One, in every one of us, there's a spark of humanity. As we claim our sparks, we become agents of transformation because we're connecting with and affirming the spark in the others and strengthening their spark. As agents of transformation, all the resources we need are available to us. As agents of transformation, not as agents of capitalism or hegemony or a whole bunches of things that we don't, but as agents of transformation, the resources we need are available to us. And then it works best when we ourselves are willing to be transformed. That's where people often balk because, I'm just fine. They need to be changed. I don't. Not good. But so in the meditations, we access the resources practice, which we're envision is like being like a tree and having roots. And so drawing in the nutrients and getting the stability from the root system down through all those layers of family, culture, environment, history, socio-political, all those layers of stuff in which terrain we find ourselves planted, and then pulling up, exactly, you've got yes, you've got it, Laura's wonderful. And so, and then up, and so then I find that just doing that, I don't feel so depleted. But that helps me do this, and I have the stability. And as someone pointed out early on in the winter of 2017, that by claiming our stability, by digging our roots in, we are stabilizing the terrain around us. Because often it can feel like we're on the verge of being sucked into a major mudslide.
Oh dear.
Right?
I see, yes, yes.
Yes, if we put our attention in some places, it's like we just, plummeting down the hillside into the abyss of the unspeakable, whatever,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, but keeping our roots firm. So that's a sort of an ancillary part of the spark process. Okay, so that's the spark practice.
I am reminded, may I?
Sure.
Yeah. To understand things, it helps me to relate them to things I already know something about.
Right.
I guess we're all like that a little
Like
bit.
trees, yeah.
Yeah, or in this case, also, I'm very acquainted with Quaker culture, practice, and language in particular. Quaker semantics would talk about sink down into the seed, that each of us has this seed that I hadn't thought of it botanically before, till you mentioned the roots and the tree. I also am reminded of words like soul or spirit or prana, or wherever you go, there's somebody talking about, there's a word or a concept that talks about the best of liveliness in each of us, or creative spark. There are all kinds of sparks. So that's helpful. But what I find really intriguing about your approach is the connectivity part. underground, we've all been reading lately about plants and the
Mycorrhizal network.
worldwide, yeah, the fungus all talking to each other across the whole globe, and pine trees warning each other of, hey, there's a ash borer on the way, or something, you know, which is a whole different kind of connection, seed to seed and spark to spark, and underground. So I kind of like the for me, the image of a parallel connectivity, the underground or the roots sort of growing together, my roots growing into your roots, into everybody else's roots, which would give us common ground from which to operate. And also the sparky stuff over here in the air. So there's two levels of connection, and it's kind of a delicious idea you're
At
flirting
least,
with here.
and maybe more than 2 levels.
Might be,
Yeah, because there's symmetry across scale.
yes. Ah, yeah, okay.
And it's not just the planet, it's through all dimensions of being. There's that which we are all live from, rooted or not.
This is the part where I get challenged because you mentioned mind, not don't get stuck in your mind, stay in your spark. I can't tell the difference very easily.
That's okay.
And I think I don't know, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people might say that too. So the practice becomes more important in that context.
Practicing.
Yeah.
Practicing is good. Just before we move on, another way that I learned about activating the vagus nerve was to turn your head as far as you can one way for a period of time, and then the other way.
Always feels good to do that.
And that apparently does it. Whatever works.
Yeah. Okay, good.
So I think there's how this affects with this Christ surge.
Yes, and how does Christ relate to this, I think?
Oh, okay. Well, as I said at the beginning, we're choosing to call that field, that living process, Christ, because we can, and because it's what we were given, and because it sort of opens things up. There tends to be in some sort of blocks off. This is Christianity. This is Christ. This is what those people are talking about, and we're making that a little more permeable here, and that in every one of us, as well as the spark of humanity, or the same thing as the spark of humanity, you get to make up your own mind. Nobody's going to tell you what, these are just toss ideas out there. If they work for you, use them. If they don't. Believe what you need to believe. There's a core of Christ,
Okay.
like the seed,
Yeah.
or the kernel of Christ. We want to get a little alliterative here. And so whether that's the same as your spark of humanity or not, I don't care.
So it's kind of calling on one's higher power, or the best of part of yourself, or your good wolf, and connecting that part of you to other people's equal,
Knowing that
similar parts,
they yes,
and with confidence that
right,
they
and
have
that you have that,
yes, oh, that,
and that you have that, and that it is, I say, powerful. It's effective. You are an agent of transformation, and I would say, because I was raised the way I was, there's a certain responsibility that goes along with recognizing it. Able to respond.
got it.
Responsibility in
Response.
that way. So that, the idea that there's this worldwide evolutionary, surge, evolutionary movement in consciousness. And that we have it's bigger than we are. We may not like the direction it's going. Some people don't. But it's there. It's bigger than we are. My way of approaching this is that I would rather be cooperating with what's happening than trying to fight against it. It's more comfortable.
Yeah.
And because I have an overall trust in the beneficence of what's happening, I look at the planet, I look at the world, I look at stuff, I look at you. I just say, this is good stuff. I want to participate in this effectively. I want to be participating in this, encouraging this, being part of this, joining this as much as I can, given my, wimpy human. I think I'd just rather go to bed and suck my thumb, sort of side of myself.
Or read a trashy
book,
novel.
Read a trashy novel, right? Yeah. So that the idea that we can participate in the Christ surge, which in this evolution of consciousness, the planet is changing. We wanted, I'm speaking for myself and I think, others maybe, we want that to be as humane as possible. Many of us were hoping that somehow the biosphere, the system, the planet continues to be able to sustain human life on this planet. No guarantees.
Right. We are hoping that, but
Right. So the question is that sitting there and hoping it, gee, I really hope, I really hope, I really hope, I really hope, we can engage and become part of making that happen, supporting that happen. It's not like oh, geez, I really hope so.
yeah,
We are not on the bleachers next to the muddy field. We can, but if we want to really find satisfaction, we get down off the bleachers and get down there and get the grit in our teeth, and we're down there, rugby, football, soccer, I don't know what we're playing.
or we're putting the divots back.
We're putting the divots back,
Yeah,
whatever we're doing, but to get
Right.
down there on the field and doing the spark practice is a way have found, and others find, that we're sort of thinning out that layer of resistance, all the accretions, all the insulation, the way we've insulated ourselves, protected ourselves from what's really going on, and all the defenses and coping mechanisms we've learned in our lifetime to be able to survive in our birth families and on, the spark practice gently erodes those and gently helps us remember that, there is that which is unassailable within me, that seed, it's safe. And so therefore, I can let go of this coping mechanism that's worked really well for me from the time I was 5 years old. But when I look at it now, it's really getting in the way.
So well. Yeah.
Not good.
Boy, aren't we all faced with that in varying degrees. It sounds to me also that this practice, which I have not gotten near, I mean, I have my own sort of practices, but they're not exactly like this, would fend off or not admit of things like despair, which I think a lot of us right now, I can speak only for myself, but I find each day a sort of despair avoidance strategy is the first thing I have to think about in the morning. How do I avoid sinking into the deepest, oh my God, look at what's happening now, feeling when I open the newspaper or something.
Right.
Now the one alternative is don't open the newspaper. I acknowledge that, but it's a little hard not to pick up the bits and pieces of what's going on. So
Right.
This does sound like building, armor's the wrong word, it's actually the opposite of armor, but building or strengthening your roots so that the things aren't going to knock you over. You're going to be a big, strong tree and bend, not break.
Yeah,
Sorta.
and yes, the image that I tend to use is organic vegetables. My mother was a great organic gardener back in the olden days, and that if you an organic vegetable does not attract pests.
Right.
And they don't find a place there. It's when it has been decimated by herbicides and pesticides that it doesn't have the strength within itself. So then you have to put more commercial fertilizer on it, and
it gets weaker and weaker.
It gets weaker and weaker and weaker. Okay. And that's I think of myself as like an organic string bean.
Oh, I'd like to be a carrot, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Because that way I could be in the dirt sometimes.
Right, yeah, yeah, absolutely. But that, yes, it's
I see.
It's something against despair, is that to know that there's that practice, to know there's that unassailable seed, and that you have a function, that you're needed.
That's a big one.
You know, so there's a purpose. So it's exciting if you choose to let it be that way. So it becomes a very constructive, positive counterforce.
Yeah, got it. I mean, I got the concept.
Right, yeah. But the practice.
The doing.
Yeah. Practice is practice, I guess. I don't think there are any shortcuts. But, you know, whenever somebody comes to mind that you think, "Meh," or and if what we found when we were doing the in-person workshops is sessions that if I don't believe that person doesn't have a spark of humanity. Those people don't.
That's the devil over there.
Right, yes, no spark of humanity. That is because that's about my defenses.
Yeah, I can certainly understand that idea.
And so I have to go back to connecting with the spark and somebody that I trust and whose spark is very accessible to me. Mm-hmm. And then slowly work my way up through the challenges and keep on pressing that. And going back to whenever I need to, getting in touch with the roots and the resources I need so I have that strength to do it.
It still sounds like there's a foundation of actual just faith that has to exist, that we have to just believe it. Just believe it.
Yeah, and that's, in a way, isn't that just a choice?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so so we can choose. I mean, if you want to be miserable and helpless and hopeless and in despair, you know,
Go right ahead.
I mean, sure, you're right. You know, hope you don't, and you know, we'll do whatever we can to help you not do it. But you know, I'm not. You know, we can't reach into what I can do, what you can do. You know, is reach that person who's choosing hopelessness and despair. We can say, there's another way. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, we can connect with their spark of humanity. Mm-hmm, and if we're not finding it, we can know that's something within us. So we go back a couple steps and keep working at it.
Got it, I think. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, and here we are. Thank you, Orca. Thank you, Coleman. Thank you, everybody.